What's going on? Hey, here we are.
What's going on, man?
Back for another episode of KYP. We got
We
the
have
Miami t-shirt on today.
draft day tomorrow, baby.
I know we are about to absolutely get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th episode of the Know Your Personnel podcast. My name is Nathan Hawthorne. This is my co-host, Jared McEnroy. And we are here bringing you the best news in sports, focused on one thing, knowing the players. Because if you know the player, you know the game. That's why we are KYP, aka Know Your Personnel. Again, my co-host Jared McEnroy. What are we going to get into today?
Just said it. It's draft day tomorrow, baby. So I'm excited, man. This is one of the most exciting times in the NFL season. So we'll talk a little bit of draft stuff, do some hypotheticals, and then it's also NBA playoffs. These games have been pretty good. So we'll break down a few things. We might have been right about a couple of things, and we may have been wrong about a couple of things. So we'll break that down a little bit. But first and foremost, if you want to give me the floor, I just have to address a certain fan base, if you don't mind.
The floor is all yours. Now, I know you had this rant on the schedule. You gave me no context what's going on. I'm about to get this raw. Pause. Give me the tape. What do we got?
Okay. Anyways, back on track here. Bills Mafia, look at me. Just look at me. I'm going to put away my Miami bias aside. I'm trying to help you out here. One thing you'll notice about, let's even talk about a similar franchise to your own, the Philadelphia Eagles. Very passionate fans. They're very critical fans. And I do not think you are all critical enough. I think you need to be pissed. You should be pissed off. And the reason being, you've wasted multiple years on Sean McDermott already. There was 7 years, right? 7 with Josh Allen, 6 with another one in there for his rookie year, but that doesn't really count. I'm only here to talk about the last 7 years. And there was one commenter who was really wanting to know, what it was and why I didn't like the Joe Brady hire. And I don't think you should. I'm tired of this let's run it back, this is our year mindset, because that's going to do nothing but waste prime Josh Allen years, and it's going to put you into another rebuild before you know it. So let's just talk about the Joe Brady hire for a second. He's been with the team for 3 years now as an offensive coordinator, right? He goes and hires Pete Carmichael Jr., who was under Sean Payton for a while. He was his offensive coordinator when he was there in New Orleans, and frankly, he's a better offensive mind than Joe Brady. So you go and hire somebody that you can hide behind when your whole thing and your whole shtick is supposed to be, you're this brilliant offensive mind, you're running the show while Sean McDermott was there, whatever. But then you go and hire a first-time defensive coordinator in Jim Leonhard. You want to talk about the defense that has happened with the Buffalo Bills in the last 7 years? Let's go through it. Let's talk about the final game of the season. 26, the Denver Broncos put up 33 points on you. 32 points from the Chiefs in 2025. That's a lot of points. Wouldn't you agree, Nathan?
I would agree, and that was a pretty
27
poor
points.
offensive Chiefs team.
Yeah, let's keep it going. The year prior to that, 27 points to the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. 27 points to the Bengals the year prior to that. 42 points to the Chiefs the year before that. 38 from the Chiefs the year before that. And even 22 points from the Texans the year before that. So you're telling me that I'm supposed to believe in a guy who's an offensive-minded guy, has never been a head coach before, and is supposed to take this team to the next level, when in reality, and then he goes and makes his first hire as a head coach a first-time defensive coordinator, rather than going and getting somebody who actually might be able to reel in this defense and put something together. Now, of course, always take this with a grain of salt. You can always be wrong. I don't care. I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I think at the end of the season, you guys are going to be very upset with this hire, and he's probably going to be on the chopping block again if there's another coaching carousel where there are better names in the field, and all of a sudden, he's gone. Stop it with the we'll get him next year mindset. That's my message. Be more critical as a fan base. You're passionate enough. You all love the Bills. You go to all the games. You jump on the tables. Rah, rah. Who knows what else? You have nothing else to do in Buffalo. I'm tired of it. Stop coming at me and start going at your team. Go at your owner. Go at your GM. Tell them to make better moves. That's all I got for you, Nathan.
I tell you what, I don't like the Joe Brady hire in particular because of what it enables Josh Allen to do. We know for a fact, right? Sean McDermott did not pay a ton of attention to the offense. He was supposed to be a defensive head coach, which makes those playoff performances even more embarrassing, giving up all those points. With Joe Brady, the turnovers that were allowed were just so poor and not coached out of Josh Allen. Now, you have a guy like Josh Allen. You think about Brett Favre, you think about current guys again, like even Patrick Mahomes. You can give them some turnovers. They're going to take risks. They're going to trust their arm strength and their ability to make plays. But bad fumbles, bad decisions, and turning it over in your own territory and turning it over when it matters in the game, trying to do too much. That was never coached out of Josh Allen with Joe Brady. And unless Pete comes in and now can coach that out of Josh Allen, 8 years into his career, I have a hard time trusting that. Are you going to have a bad offense? No, you're not. And we'll get into what I think the Bills need to be doing a little bit later. But I don't love the Joe Brady hire for that reason. I think you're right. He needed to surround himself with other high quality coaches, right? The thing I gripe about Nick Sirianni all the time. You have to get guys around you who have that head coach experience when you're new or when you're kind of a walk around guy. Obviously, he's an offensive guy, but I would have loved to have seen, a little bit more of an effort to get a defensive coordinator who had some experience. And it might not be the best defensive coordinator, but when you have a guy who has head coach experience already or is in that tenure of a position, it just frees you up to focus on what you need to focus on. Head coaching is so different. That could be its own segment in its own. Head coaching is entirely different than being a coordinator. Entirely different. Are elements the same? Yeah, but it is entirely different. I agree with you. I don't love the hire. He could very much be on the chopping block. I don't know if this was this isn't quite as bad as Gerard Mayo, hire you to fire you. Not quite that bad, but man, I'm not.
But let me tell you something else. And this is why we need to be more critical, is because you just had it, that mindset gave you 7 prime Josh Allen years to Sean McDermott. You trusted this man for 7 years. Sirianni is a year removed from a Super Bowl, and his head is already on a silver platter being ready to be served to the chopping block. Like he's almost out the door, and he just won a Super Bowl. So why are we giving Sean McDermott all this leeway? And now here you are, and then you go and make that hire. So that's what I'm saying. It's just we need to be more critical. It's absurd. I don't need to get any more into it than that, but just had to get that off my chest. And said commenter will be tagged in the comments this time around to make sure he watches this video.
We'll tag you. We'll let you know. We'll even give you the timestamps, and we'll let you know exactly what to look at.
We'll make it easy for you.
We'll clip it out. We'll email it to you.
Well,
okay.
I don't know if we have that kind of contact information, but
I'll export that into a USB drive and I'll send it to your home address. Just let me know. KYP coming with it. Anyways, NFL draft coming up. Ooh. I know we got a couple of thoughts, a couple different segments here. While we're kind of in this GM coach territory, I did want to lead off the NFL draft segment with a couple of teams that, number one, need to nail this draft, I think more so than other teams, and then kind of talk about the dynamics between your head coach and your general manager, because sometimes both are new, sometimes only one is new, and figuring out how to mesh those things together is incredibly important. So I'm going to give you first I'm going to give you 5 teams. I'm going to tell you these 5 teams really need to nail it, and then I'll kind of break down why I think they need to nail it, and I'll get your raw reaction from that. Sound great?
Yep, let's do it. And also just in the back of your mind, think about that one clip of Mike Vrabel when he hears that A.J. Brown is traded on draft night and he's walking away. That's the key. You got to have your coach and the GM on the same page, or else things might get a little sticky. So let's get in. Who's the first team we're talking about?
We're going to have 5 teams. The first team we are going to be talking about, or not necessarily talk about, we got the Chiefs, we've got the Ravens, we've got the Bills, funny enough, we've got the Cardinals, and we've got the Titans. These are going to be the teams that absolutely need to nail this draft. Some of them, again, have a long sustained and great head coach and GM relationship like the Chiefs. You've got Brett Veach and Andy Reid. And then other ones are new. The Cardinals, the Titans. You're looking at some new mixing and matching that has to be done in order to essentially win your draft. I want to start with the Chiefs because my my thought process has changed here. The Kansas City Chiefs need to go all out for a wide receiver. Absolutely need to go all out for a wide receiver and get Patrick Mahomes another weapon. Why? You're asking their offensive line wasn't strong, That's fine. You can patch up your offensive line and make it serviceable for a guy like Patrick Mahomes because of his ability to move out of the pocket. So I'm not worried about offensive line. I don't want to reach for an offensive lineman too early in the draft. It's not necessarily a strong tackle draft. Let's not waste our time. Let's maybe trade up and get yourself an elite wide receiver. I like Rashee Rice. I like Xavier Worthy, but they are not the guys that consistently separate based on skill and based on skill set. Rashee Rice, kind of got to scheme him open. Xavier Worthy, yeah, he can blow you over the top, no doubt about that. He can burn you on a crosser, but who's my guy that in that man-to-man matchup can absolutely win their route, can get themselves open? Pat Mahomes can close his eyes and just throw it to him. That's why I'm saying they need to go out, and I don't care who you get in that first round. I don't care if it's Carnell Tate. I don't care if you decide we actually like KC Concepcion better. We're going to reach really hard and pick. I don't care what it is. Just get yourself an elite wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes and let him work with him. That's my take.
Okay. And I'll present you with something else later. But for now, where does Kenyon Sadiq fall into this conversation to you? Is that a viable option to fill in, or is this you need a receiver? It's flat out.
I think you need a receiver.
Okay.
I think you need a receiver. And we like the idea of taking Kenyon Sadiq and plugging him into that Travis Kelce role. I just don't think that they're the same kind of player, and that's not going to be a one-to-one fit. I like the idea of getting another tight end, but also I think the cycle of tight ends that they've had between Watson and who's my other guy? Between a couple of those guys, they've had an opportunity to have a lot of playing time and get plenty of catches. So I'm not necessarily concerned about the tight end. You had a Hall of Fame tight end, that's great. You don't necessarily need to go try and replace him first. Plenty of teams have won the Super Bowl without having that tight end. But yeah, just in general, we want to see a gunslinging Patrick Mahomes. I've kind of since they had since they had Tyreek Hill walk out the door, they haven't had Mahomes be able to close his eyes and just chuck that football. And what we want to see that fun and exciting opened up offense again. And if you don't have that guy that can truly be a separator, man, you're gonna need to. But so yeah, fix your O line other ways. Get yourself a DB to replace Trent McDuffie. But then other than that, go be exciting. Be exciting. Yeah. Mahomes is coming off that ACL injury. Go be exciting.
So my thought on it is, one, Rashee Rice is that guy, let's be honest. On the field, we know what he can do, but he's not there. And he clearly has his issues, so we can't rely on him, and that just is what it is. I look at their picks, and I see 9 and 29, and I think it's with Kenyon Sadiq, the reason I wanted to get your opinion is I feel like it's a little bit of fool's gold, where it's like you're going to get a nice receiver on the back end, like over in 29, why not take Sadiq here and take a receiver there? And I think to your point, it's because they need to go get like the guy. They need to get their JSN. They need to get their Puka. And I feel like that could be I feel like that's where Mekhi Lemon could be a reach for them and be worth a reach. Again, like I like prospects like Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate, like a little better, but like similarly. But where I feel like the upside with Mekhi Lemon is through the roof. And he's somebody that I could see being able to really learn how to separate at the next level and be that route runner that's going to go get themselves open, like you said. So I don't mind it. I agree with you, and I think you nailed it. And like we said, they have 29, they have 40. There's going to be linemen available at those picks. So like, I get exactly like you said. I get it. They need to fill in these other holes. They have picks to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the Chiefs really do have to nail this draft. Patrick Mahomes coming off that ACL injury. You know you need that elite weapon. You know that you need to get some offensive line support. You've got the running back to help take some pressure off too, who's also great in pass protection. I love it. We're going to move on to the next team. The Baltimore Ravens need to nail this draft. They absolutely have to nail this draft. The last several years for Eric DeCosta, you've had John Harbaugh, who kind of strikes me as a more conservative guy, and you've had a history of drafting defense. When you've tried to draft offense, it has not been very good. You tried to pick Rashad Bateman in the first round, didn't work out. You took Zay Flowers, 22 overall. Now Zay Flowers is great. He's an elite weapon, but he's not your number one guy. And you got to think about you could have replaced Mark Andrews with Dalton Kincaid in that 2023 draft, or you could have drafted Jordan Addison, who was a Blintnikoff winner. Like that's a guy that you maybe take over a speedy receiver like Zay Flowers. I'm not sure. I'm not there, but they absolutely have to nail this draft. You've got Lamar Jackson coming back, a similar situation to Josh Allen, have not been able to get over the hump. You've got a new coach. You went defensive head coach. You absolutely have to nail this draft if you are the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and they've always been a team that they've really needed to do it in free agency, but it's forcing them to do it in the draft because they haven't been able to do it in free agency. Like the two biggest names, obviously they went and got Derrick Henry, so like that's not your pass game. That's a whole different beast, and you've created an identity for the team. Great for them. And they've seen some success from it, but you do have to round that out with a good pass game. And the two biggest names they brought in were like a super old Odell Beckham and an old DeAndre Hopkins. Like those are the only names I can think of note that they've really brought in free agency. So yeah, agreed. It's going to have to be done in the draft.
Yeah, and for Eric DeCosta, you've done a great job of acquiring some assets. You've got 11 picks in the draft this year, and 3 of them are inside the top 100. So you've got an opportunity to kind of pick some of the best talent available to you. That defense kind of is starting to get old and injured. Kyle Hamilton being that young piece that is the glue to that defense, that rangy physical safety. Marlon Humphrey, I'm not sure how much gas he has left in the tank. Yeah. And really, since you let go of Patrick Queen to the Steelers, you haven't had this physical enforcer on your team. So if that's the mentality you want to have with Jesse Minter, you're going to have to get some physicality on that defensive side. But also you got Lamar Jackson, and he's got to stay happy. You're going to have to find a way in one of those first 3 picks to not just get him a weapon, but again, an elite weapon for him to be able to work with. The running game is the running game. You got Derrick Henry, but you got to do it. You have to nail this draft. You decided John Harbaugh wasn't going to be the guy. You kept Eric DeCosta on board. You didn't clean whole house. Again, this is one of those marriages where it's not necessarily 2 entirely new guys. How is this going to work out for Minter and DeCosta? I'm not sure. But you got to keep Lamar in mind. Yeah.
Yep. Now, this next one, just you say your spiel. I don't think I'm personally allowed to say anything about the Bills anymore. I've got everything I need to get out. So give me a quick rundown on the Bills, and then we'll move on.
The Buffalo Bills have to be perfect with their first and third round picks this year. You have no room to make mistakes. You did a great job acquiring Bradley Chubb in the offseason. One of the biggest sticking points was inability to stop the pass and the run. That's the Dolphins fan coming out. I love that face. You traded your second-round pick for DJ Moore. Honestly, he's probably better than any second-round pick that you're going to find in the draft this year. So you love that for Josh Allen. But what you do, if you want to immediately become a contender this year, you have to nail this draft. You have to get somebody on that defensive, on the back end of your defense, right, that's been old and injured for a number of years. I love you, Micah Hyde, but you're just not the guy anymore. You got to get somebody on that back end of your defense. And again, you need a physical enforcer. Gregory Rousseau's been great as that kind of spearhead of the defense for your team for a number of years now. He's kind of getting on that old and injured side. You kind of took the stab at Von Miller a number of years ago. That didn't quite work out in earnest. So you just have to find a way to not start focusing too much on offense now that Joe Brady's your head coach. But you have to find a way to beef up that defense that has let you down year after year after year. They're off to a good start, but there's more.
You said it. You said it, not me. The Tennessee Titans. I'm excited to see what you have to say about them. Mostly because they are a young team. They are a young team that ultimately the draft is very important to get this rebuild going quick. And now you've hired 2 coaches that you really believe in. So it's a matter of getting to it right away. What does nailing the draft look like for the Titans?
Nailing the draft for the Titans, this is kind of a tough one for me. So you got Mike Borgonzi, the general manager. This is his second year. Last year, I think he did a really solid job with drafting Cam Ward. Oladejo from UCLA has been a great addition for them. The Alamayor, the wide receiver, he's been an excellent pickup from them from Stanford. So he's got some pedigree of picking some elite, not necessarily elite players, but really solid players. they're going to have to do that again. But at the 4 spot, there's so much chatter about, whether them or the Cardinals are going to end up taking Jeremiah Love. I'm just not sure that Jeremiah Love is the right pick. So with all that being said, for the Titans to be able to nail this draft, I think they probably either need to trade down or they need to make an aggressive move for a pass rusher. And that's why I think Mike Borgonzi is going to be the next great general manager in the NFL right now. It's just based off of what he did last year. He was with the Chiefs and Brett Veach from 2009 to 2024 before he took this job. He knows how to build up a defense. He knows how to set up a player development team because he used to be head of player development. And I just think if he continues to get the right guys in the building that have the right mindset, you're going to be able to develop them, and then you can go and get those sweet cherries on top in that first round. So I think that they're going to go pass rusher if they don't trade down, because I don't think that Jeremiah Love, as electric as he is, you're probably fine with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. You can run that back. You don't need to take a risk on that rookie running back. So again, I think success looks like, and nailing this draft looks like, you got yourself an excellent pass rusher. You found a way to get a better weapon for Cam Ward, not necessarily an elite weapon, a better weapon. He can cover a lot of those mistakes. And then again, just keep developing these guys. And that's what the success is going to look like for the Titans.
My only pushback is I don't think they should trade down. And the main reason being is when you're rebuilding and you want to make it go quick, you need all of your assets and you need to make all of your picks and nail them, which is exactly what this segment is. This is actually a weird situation where it's kind of a win-win regardless. You have 3 teams picking before you. But you have 5 guys in the draft that you would take all of them right away. Obviously, Mendoza's going 1, so you take him out of the equation. Then you have Love, you have Arvell Reese, Bailey, and Sonny Styles. If any of those names end up a Tennessee Titan, I think they're through the roof. So sit, make the pick, let the other teams make their picks, and then round 2 and 3, you have the third pick in the second round and the second pick in the third. So make the picks, nail it.
Yeah, you've got
that's the segment.
That's the segment. Make the picks, nail the picks, win the Super Bowls.
So you think Love is going early, and I know the last team you wanted to talk about was the Cardinals. Is that them nailing the draft? Is that them taking Love there, or what is it for them?
No, it's not them nailing the draft. And again, he's an excellent player, and it's really hard to look at a guy, arguably a generational talent that Jeremiah Love is, and pass on that. Mm-hmm. But to me, like the Titans, there's too many holes to fix to say, hey, we're going to spend this first round pick on Jeremiah Love. I think that there are more in today's modern NFL offenses that have turned running backs, unless you're a tote the rock guy like Derrick Henry, have kind of turned them into quasi wide receivers, right? And you can kind of make a running back like committee work with James Conner and with, oh my goodness, who did they just sign? Then they went out and signed somebody else to be a tandem with James Conner, and I'm blanking on the name. So you're fine at running back right now. And again, I think this is another trade down candidate, or again, you go pass rusher for that defense. Last year, your offense, even with Jacoby Brissett, was crazy, right? And now you're bringing in Matt LaFleur, a guy who wants to focus on offense in its entirety, but the defense is just what made you not competitive in any way whatsoever. You've got Budda Baker on your roster at safety who refuses to leave. I'm not sure why. He must love what they have going on down in Arizona. But goodness gracious, get yourself some help on defense, and that's going to be the winning key. So I don't know if you trade down or if you stay, again, up front at the top of the draft and get yourself one of those, your Reese, your Bailey, your Styles, etc.
Yeah. And Tyler Algier, by the way, is who they signed.
Tyler. So yeah, you're
perfectly
fine.
Capable back.
Yep, perfectly capable. So again, like that's a lot of teams there, but to me, those are the 5 teams that really need to nail the draft. Like there's a lot of other teams you can afford to make some mistakes, but some of those new head coach, general manager combos, and then some of those more tenured teams that really need to re-up and get things turned around. I mean, goodness gracious.
Okay. So I agree. I love that. Fully agree with the Cardinals. I don't have too much to say about them, but I think you nailed it. Like, what's the point, man? We get it with the running backs these days. Running back is a luxury, and it's for teams that ultimately are well more equipped than the Arizona Cardinals. So I think it would be a rough pick for them unless if they were, like next draft. Let's say they had a ton of assets, they had 7 picks in the top 100, like the Dolphins do this year. in the next draft, then it's like, okay, nice. Like, we get it. You go and you get the best guy right now because next year you're really getting things going. But they don't. They're pretty average. I think they just have their picks, and who knows.
Yeah.
But
And I do want to ask, am I crazy for wanting teams to trade down? It just at
no,
the top of
no.
the top of this draft. Okay, for a second, because I started kind of listening to myself talk over the past couple teams. I'm like, yeah, you could trade down. I'm like,
Well,
is that
let's.
is that idiotic to trade down? Is it an
This is
idiotic
the
move to
perfect
trade
time
down
to.
in the NFL draft?
Yeah, this is the perfect time to move into my next segment, which is who hangs up first in this trade. I got some trade back ideas, not necessarily trade back. The first one is going to certainly be a trade back, though, and it's very relevant to the teams we were just talking about. So,
Hit me.
who hangs up first in this trade? I'm going to present you with a trade idea. You tell me, do both teams agree to the deal? Would it be good for both of them? Or does one of them say, not necessarily, that doesn't work for me? You don't have to go too crazy on why. Just, tell me what you think.
You got it.
My first idea, and this is going to be a two-parter, so it's one, things are staying in New York. The New York Giants and the New York Jets make a big trade. And that's going to be the Giants get pick 2 and 44, so they get the Jets' second round pick,
Mm-hmm.
and they move up to 2. And they sacrifice 5 and 10. This either gives them two options. One, they love Jeremiah Love so much that they go and they secure we're the ones who are getting him. Or two, we guarantee that we get Arvell Reese or whoever we think the best defensive player is in this draft. So you flip it. Do we take, our 5th favorite player and our 10th favorite player? Or do we trade that for a very deep draft, in the second round, we get that pick and we go and get our Arvell Reese. We get our guy who is going to be the guy alongside Abdul Carter in that insane defense.
The Giants are definitely the team that proposed this trade, but if I'm
So you don't think the Jets think, oh, we just turned a second rounder into the 10th pick just to move back 3 spots and we'll take anybody we can get in the top 5 anyways? The Jets need help now. They need a lot of help.
That's a great point. 5 and 10 is 2 valuable enough for 5 and 10. And if you're the Giants, you just got
But that's what I'm
your
saying
mittens
is
on 10.
Yeah, and the reason I proposed it, and you may be right. Maybe that is that might not be worth
just
it.
Feels a little deep for me. If it was like 30, if it was like 33, low 30s, I think I'd have an easier time taking that trade if I'm the New York Jets. I'm sorry, if I'm
the Giants. Yeah.
If I'm the Giants, man.
But now you got Arvell Reese, man. You got him on that team. You got John Harbaugh just got signed. Here we're cooking. We're cooking with gas.
If I'm the Giants, I think I take that because I just traded Sexy Dexy. One of the best. I mean, you're looking at not necessarily a great. No, I don't take that because in terms of interior defensive line, I'm not sure that any of those top guys are the guys that I want. There's not a nose tackle to me that says if I get to 2, I can get myself a nose tackle that is going to be better than Dexter Lawrence.
So you're saying
focus on other
and you're not necessarily
it's not that you don't want to have another pass rusher, but if you're moving up to there, it's because you're getting Reese, Styles, or Bailey, kind of some outer edge guys. Now Bailey's a little bit more diverse. He probably has a little bit more weight to line up inside if you wanted him to.
The whole point of this was to just make you think, and there's no right answer.
Listen,
and I don't necessarily think that's
I
don't necessarily think that's a great trade, but it's the main reason I wanted to do this was, is Arvell Reese that much better than the other defensive players in the top 5? Because they're talking about him like he is, and I think he is too. I think he's unbelievable. So I think it's going to make for some tough conversations. So you said no, Giants hang up.
I would say no. I think the Giants hang up. I think they feel good about 5 and 10, and then who knows? Maybe they trade 10 to get themselves somewhere or another player, right? They could be doing a little flip and dip combo. Who knows? But yeah, I think I'd feel more comfortable having 5 and 10 versus 1 and 44.
Yeah,
I like the players available to me.
All right. And I agree with you. My vision for the Giants, and I'm not going to go too crazy here, but the vision for the Giants is if Jeremiah Love is there at 5, they take him. And then at 10, they take one of Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, one of those guys. Their offense all of a sudden is unbelievable. You now have Jackson Dart. You now have Jeremiah Love. You have one of those two paired with Malik Neighbors and Isaiah Likely. Like, the offense is ready to rock. But again, we don't need to go too crazy. I got another one here for you. Let's talk about the team you just said needs to nail the draft, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, they look at their team, and they're like, wow, we got some good picks this year. But then all of a sudden the Browns knock on the door, and they say, hey, if you give us pick 9, pick 29, and pick 40, we'll give you Myles Garrett, the best pass rusher in the game, arguably. Is anyone saying no to that? Do the Browns do that trade? Do the Chiefs do the trade?
Wow. If I want Myles Garrett on my team, especially as the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm not sure whether they can afford him no matter what Black Voodoo cap magic Brett Veach is working on. Man, I think that's just a little bit too much to give up. I don't mind 2 first rounders, but then adding your 3rd rounder, I'm like, I don't know about that.
But it's Myles Garrett.
Are they gonna throw me a little bit of cheese back? Like, do I get like a late 3rd or a 4th, like Myles Garrett in a 4th? Maybe that's something. To my point earlier about nailing the draft. He changes your team though.
Yeah, he does. That's the thing, is you get into the dog days of the playoffs, you get to the Super Bowl, and those big names are always year in and year out the names that make the difference of whether you win the big game or not. So that's where I'm like, and very rarely are these young guys the ones who do it. So that's...
And,
just quick yes or no. I need a final answer.
Chris Jones could certainly use some help. Man, that's a good one. I'm gonna say yeah. I'd take that. I'd take that deal.
Both teams take it. Done deal.
If I'm the Browns, yeah, because I feel like Kansas City's certainly getting fleeced here. No, they're not even getting fleeced.
No, that's pretty fair, man. It's not 9 is where the value is. 29 is great, but if you give them a pick next year, that pick could be higher than 29. So that could be worse for the Chiefs. You know what I mean? So you know what the numbers are.
Taking that deal.
Take the value today. Yeah.
I want Myles Garrett on my roster. And
in the same breath,
if you don't have to double team, oh my god, can't double team Chris Jones because you got Myles Garrett on the outside.
Can't do it.
You don't need to draft a corner. It's not going to matter.
They can be on the same side of the center. Good luck.
Anybody can, defend a guy for the first half second, which is all you need for Myles Garrett and Chris Jones to get back there. Like if your pass rush is at you, I'm taking the deal.
Same idea here, except not both of their picks. The Cowboys knock on the Raiders' door and they say, "Hey, give us Max Crosby. We'll give you 12 and a first next year." So the Cowboys still have the 20th pick of this year, so you still have a pick in the first round. You give up your 12th pick, which is the higher of the two, and you give up a 2027 first rounder. So it's 2 first rounders, and you get Max Crosby.
If I'm Dallas and the Raiders called me with that, I would hang it up. I would hang it up because you just picked up Rashawn Gary to kind of be your guy on the D-line. And I think that, again, having those 2 picks to be able to solve what needs more immediate help, which is the back end, I'm all right moving on from Max Crosby. From a Jerry Jones standpoint, I tell you what, we'd sell a lot of jerseys. We sell a lot of Max Crosby jerseys.
That's what he's all about, bro.
We sell out some more seats, but I think that having those 2 picks, particularly for the Cowboys in the first round, helps them fix their defense. And you already got Jerry Jones talking about trading down and out of that 10th pick to get himself an elite weapon. I don't know what he was rambling about on some local radio show. I just heard a snippet, but Drazy, hey, listen, he's crazy enough to do it. He's crazy enough to make that trade, but
he's crazy.
Respectfully, Jerry would say that I just don't think that dog will hunt.
Okay. All right. Love it. With that being said, I disagree. I think they would do it 100%. I think they'd see that name, and I think he's still bitter about, he's somewhat feels like they lost the Micah Parsons deal. Like, losing that kind of name sucks. The injury makes it better, but regardless, I think his ego is going to step in and be like, oh, we're the Cowboys. We do what we need to do. Let's go get the biggest name in the market right now. Don't know, man. Max Crosby.
I wouldn't do it.
Next segment. Are you ready for more draft stuff? Last one.
Give me some more draft stuff.
All right, here we go. Here's the segment. We're doing who's the better prospect? And just a quick synopsis of who you think was. And I'm going to give you one person from this draft and one person who's in a similar position in prior drafts.
I love that.
And then you tell me who's the better, and this is better prospect. So think about when they were coming out of college. What did we think of them? We'll go from there. The first, who is the better prospect? You got Jeremiah Love, who we're just chatting about, and then you got Ezekiel Elliott, who was picked 4th overall. Who was the better prospect?
Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think that one's close. Ezekiel Elliott.
Really?
It's the speed, it's the vision, and it's the size. And Jeremiah Love, I think, has a similar size, but he's a little bit more stretched out vertically in terms of that weight class, and I like it. But I like my running backs a little bit lower to the ground. I like my running backs having a little bit more pudding, but still having that speed. Ezekiel Elliott for sure. And part of this is being a University of Oregon fan and watching him in the national title. I'm like, this dude's the greatest running back I've ever seen.
The sawed-off jersey, the tummy out.
Come on.
Bro was, that
Ezekiel
dude was
Elliott,
cold.
He was a grown man at the age of 12.
And it's tough because you think about prospect-wise, you think about the Saquon Barkleys, the Christian McCaffreys, and these names. You think about them almost like in a tier above, and you don't think about Ezekiel Elliott that way because of how we've seen his career pan out. But, he was that guy. He really was. The 4th pick, man. The 4th pick. Let's not get it twisted.
Rookie contract Ezekiel Elliott was unbelievable.
Okay.
It was unbelievable.
Next name up. And this one, I'm very interested because I feel like they were both bona fide number ones.
Okay.
But at the same time, they both kind of feel like a stretch. Fernando Mendoza or Kyler Murray, who's the better prospect coming out of college?
Who? What?
Don't
Kyler
who me.
Murray.
Did Kyler Murray win a Heisman?
Yes. Did he?
Yeah,
not?
he did.
At Oklahoma?
Yeah. Yeah, and he was the bona fide number 1 pick.
Yeah. Right.
What's outrageous about this? Mendoza's the same. He won a national championship, but what are we talking about here?
If raw talent and ability, just oh my goodness. Okay, who else was in that draft? What other quarterback was in his draft? What year was? Because Kyler Murray was.
Listen, man, you don't have to disrespect it. We're talking about. You're saying he was generational?
No, he as a prospect, his ability to throw the football. I mean, you had Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, throwing for 8 billion yards at Ohio State. You had Daniel Jones, the Duke legend himself. Now I'm not even gonna try and play that one. But honestly, interesting that you picked those couple of names because they weren't in particularly strong quarterback drafts. But if you asked me to pick between the two on draft day, not knowing what I know now, I would go Kyler Murray. I think today, if they were in the draft together, if weird supplemental NFL draft, I might take Mendoza just because I know that Kyler Murray's had some limitations in terms of NFL quarterback development. But goodness great, yeah, raw talent, raw ability, prospect, Kyler Murray. That dude spins it when he wants to. That dude spins it.
I agree with you on that one, by the way. Cool. Next name up, we got already talked about him today too. Mekhi Lemon or Odell Beckham Jr. coming out of college. And Odell was the 11th pick. And he was the 3rd wide receiver picked in that draft.
Who else was picked? Who was picked ahead of Odell?
I will look it up while you give me your answer. I want to say it was 2 slightly bummy names, though.
Man. I like Mekhi Lemon at USC. And it's kind of hard to unsee the glam that Odell Beckham Jr. has had. But the things that he was doing at LSU, I think, were just incredible. He was putting up dummy numbers. Oh, my goodness. Now I can't remember who was playing alongside him. Oh, Jarvis Landry.
Landry.
Those two guys were killing it. Whereas
crazy here. And
I think that Mekhi Lemon playing in that offense with Lincoln Riley, probably a little bit different of a structure and a look. A more I can't think of outside of CeeDee Lamb, I can't think of any of the Oklahoma wide receivers that played in that system with Lincoln Riley that did well in the NFL. A little bit more of a college system, but LSU has been known for running a pro-style system and getting guys running pro style routes. So for that reason, I'm looking at a guy who's got a polished route tree and incredible hands, catching kickoffs one-handed just for fun. Odell Beckham Jr.
All right. And the two before were Sammy Watkins. The two before were Sammy Watkins and Mike Evans. That's fair.
Yeah.
I forgot Mike was one of the names, but
yeah,
and Sammy was cold in college, but
he didn't popped. He popped for a while with the Bills, but he was part of some of those bad Bills teams. Some bad Bills teams.
But you admit that's pretty
with Kansas City.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But that's a pretty tough one, I thought. Next name up, we got two, and again, I'm trying to pick these of like player comps, but also kind of in the same area of the draft that they might go.
Sure.
Next name up, Caleb Downs or Minkah Fitzpatrick out of Alabama, and Minkah was taken at the 11th pick by the Miami Dolphins. Dude, he was cold there. But Downs is the guy.
I like my boy Caleb Downs. And both of them were surrounded with NFL talent too, which made their jobs easier. But you can't forget that as a true freshman at Alabama, Caleb Downs started. And then he said, y'all are too bummy for me. I'm going to go win a natty at Ohio State. And went and did that. So I'm going to go Caleb Downs. And also, I saw more physical downhill hits from Caleb Downs than I did from Minkah Fitzpatrick. Not saying Minkah Fitzpatrick doesn't bang. I think Minkah's maybe a little bit more high IQ, a little headier, but man, Caleb Downs. If you had the two in the draft, Caleb
Do you not remember, though, before Minkah's first year, they were doing early mock drafts, before his final year, rather, Alabama. They were talking about him like he was 1 or 2. And
yeah,
you know how these DBs work. They quickly slide in the draft. Once the actual day comes, you realize the value's maybe not necessarily as valuable as other positions that you could be drafting for. But my last one, we got him this year, Arvell Reese or Abdul Carter. Who is the better prospect?
I think Arvell Reese. Now, Abdul Carter, absolutely a freak, and he's proved that to an extent in the NFL thus
overall.
far. Arvell Reese is just bigger. And that was kind of one of the things about Abdul Carter, kind of in that Micah Parsons sort of deal where you're just not quite fully sized as that pass rusher and maybe you're a little bit of liability on that run side. But I think Arvell Reese, in terms of size and where and how I can line him up, might just be a better prospect. And that one's really close because that one's really recent. I'm taking Arvell Reese.
All right.
Dude's got cannons
and there we have
arms. Have you seen that guy?
Yeah, dude. He's an animal. That's why I'm like, dude, that Giants-Jets trade, I would consider it for a guy like that, man. But anyways, we got draft day this weekend. I'm excited. Tons of coverage now these days. I love it. I love you can just throw it on in the background while you're working, while you're doing whatever. Well, first round starts pretty late at night, but nonetheless, easy to have on your phone while you're watching the NBA playoffs. I'm excited. Do you got anything else on the draft before we get into the NBA playoffs a little bit?
I'm just excited. There's nothing more electric than draft day. And you're seeing these guys, they're on the phone, they're trying to strike a deal, they're moving, they're saying, like, I'll do this. Okay, hold on, let me call you back. And you get the other guy on the line. I love it. I love what they got going on.
I'm going to be bumping Drake draft day all day. Johnny Manziel.
You're going to be bumping Iceman when it drops? I mean, we got to wait a while.
Oh, my God.
That's light skin. That's light skin Christmas. Yeah, that was disrespectful, but it's a Drizzy. I'll keep waiting. He hasn't had a good
We'll wait as long as we need to.
Whatever.
Oh, whoa. That's a crazy take. But let's get into another crazy take. Last episode, I took a little bit of heat because I took our Portland Trailblazers to give the Spurs fits. And let's just get into my little mini rant, if you will. I already ranted earlier, so don't have to go crazy here. I wasn't wrong. You can't look at me and tell me I was wrong. Game 1, we were in it the entire game until a big run at the end, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we were in it. Game 2, we were in it the entire game, and we won the game. So it's 1-1. All you got to do on the road, everyone knows, steal one. Steal one and bring it back. We got them at the Moda Center on Friday, and I'm excited. The place is going to be jumping. And before we start doing this whole, hey, Wemby was out, Okay, his plus minus is -3 right now in the entire series. Every minute he's played on the court. So let's not sit here and act like, and that's not me saying he doesn't change the game. Of course, you're better with him on the court. I get that, but we are in the game when he's on the court also, and that plus minus doesn't lie. It's a statistic. Are we scoring in more than you are when he's on the court or not? Let's move into the next thing, the whole foul thing. I'm sick and tired. All I see is Spurs fans talking about, oh, they're getting all these fouls, crazy foul calls, blah, blah, blah. The Spurs have drawn 7 more fouls in game 1, 5 more in game 2, and they have 47 total free throw attempts to our 35. You're getting way more foul calls. Shut up. Next thing, talking about the Blazers and what we need to do to actually have a chance moving forward. Our team defense and the adjustment we made in game 2, huge. Love it. And we need to continue to do that, especially when Wemby does come back. We schemed against them without him very well, and our team defense looked great. But help side on Luke Cornett versus help side on Wemby is it's a whole different beast. And then, yeah, we need to slow down their runs. They're making crazy runs, especially at the end of the game. They did it again. They got up 14 with 8 minutes left. Luckily, we came back. But my last tiny bit here, going at the Spurs and these fans, the players. What Vassell was saying about Scoot, they need to play him more physical and stuff. Go ahead. The whole point of this and what's going to let us back into the series and let a star like Denny be a star is these other players drawing some attention. Scoot went and got 31. He went and got buckets. Drew went and got buckets. Robert Williams, what are we doing? It's working. You just proved to us it's working. You are going to have to let up a little bit on Denny. Next thing you know, he goes and puts a 41 ball on you, steals another game at home. We're in this thing. I'm not saying we're gonna guaranteed win the series. And that was more of me just trying to clip farm on the last one. But all I was saying was it was going to be competitive. We are in this thing. It's not as far apart as you think it is. And we are going to give them fits, and we have. So what'd you like? What'd you think about the first couple games?
Yeah, well, I think game 1, once we cut it to 1, that game 1, the Spurs just kept hitting every big shot that they needed to stop our run or to prevent us from going on a run. And that's not typical or sustainable in the NBA. We know this. Basketball is a game of runs. And when the other team gets on one, it's one of the things that the Warriors were great at all the time. You hit a big bucket, all of a sudden they inbounds, they come back and they hit a 3 right in your face. And not that the Spurs were necessarily hitting 3s right in the face, but they just had an ability to get the bucket exactly when they needed it. And so it just takes the air out of you when you make that little 4-point run and then they do hit a 3, or you make a great stop, you get a bucket, you get a stop again, and then you miss and then they score. And just every single time. And so what I felt like in game 2 is they weren't going to be able to do that. And again, granted, without Wemby in the second half, I kind of thought they played, and better is not the word, but when you just let De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle, and Harper just run and be aggressive, their drive and kick game is so hard to stop. They penetrate, they get deep in transition, and then they kick it out to somebody for a 3. And I just think that you can play that way. You live and die by the 3. And plain and simple, they did not make as many shots, and then Portland just made shots. I think that the Spurs played as good of a game as they can play in game 1, and then game 2 was a step down from that. Blazers, meh on that offensive side in game 1, and then just, showed up. And again, keep scooting, baby. I'm so happy to see him start to shine. And what I do hope is Scoot Henderson, please do not change your level of expectation of your ability. And I want you to know that you have the ability, but don't all of a sudden take and mount this pressure on yourself. Hey, I have to score 30 every single game for the rest of this series. I got to get a bunch of shots up for the rest of the series. No, if you do, great. But keep playing within your game. I thought he did a great job of not forcing too many shots, but he's bouncy, he's quick, he's springy. Keep
doing his jump shot.
Keep scoot. He used to kind of chuck the ball at the rim, kind of knuckled. It was not pretty, but that thing looking pretty.
Dude, he's clearly been in the gym with Dame. He's clearly, and that's the Dame effect I was talking about. And to your point, the big thing, there's the inverse of the matching buckets also, and that's when you go and get a stop. The Trailblazers haven't been able to go get a bucket after that, so it's been a stop and a stop and a score and a score. And in these games with this talented of a team, like you can't do that. Like if you have to keep up scoring with them, but also when you go and get 5, 6, 7 stops in a row, you have to get buckets in that time. That's how you make a run of your own and you get a lead of your own. We've been playing from behind far too often, or playing like in a tied back and forth, bounce back and forth. Like I would like to see us at least one of these next 2 games go get a lead and really get after it, and build off of that. So
Answer
yeah.
answer this for me now. I love the adjustments that Thiago Splitter made from game 1 to game 2, changing how our defense looked. We were scrambling game 1. Game 2, we looked organized. Is he the Portland Trailblazers coach in 2027?
It's so hard to answer that because, like,
in 2026 later this year. But is he the guy?
I like the guy. I do. And one thing, clearly he's a young coach. Like clearly you can see where he's having his own growing pains, just like any player's going to have their growing pains. And he got put into it sooner than he probably expected. So like he's personally won a championship, so he knows how playoff basketball works. He was with freaking Greg Popovich. For out of all people you can be with, that's a great person to play for. So like, he's got good bones. I like his mindset, his ability to adjust. That's what drove us crazy about Terry Stotts for all of those years. It's what drove us crazy about Chauncey Billups. I don't care. He must have been doing it on purpose because he did not know how to adjust in a game at all.
No, he did.
I hope he never sniffs a basketball court for the rest of his life.
He did. He just knew how to make an adjustment
to lose the game.
Books that would favor the book or the outcome that he needed. So he could adjust,
but
just
regardless,
it's dumb.
It's going to be really hard to like. I mean, Malone's obviously at UNC now, so he's off the table. Billy Donovan's, a good option. I told you to stay away from Doc Rivers unless Wemby's on the flight from Milwaukee. Giannis. If Giannis is on that flight, Alaska Airlines first class from Milwaukee to Portland with Doc sitting right next to him, I'm fine with it then. Then we'll talk. But if he's not, stay away. I think Splitter is a far better option than many of the other what ifs. So I wouldn't be mad at it. There's a lot of talk, obviously, about our new owner and him being a cheapo, but let's see the vision out. We've had some terrible years, man. We've endured some way worse than this.
Some brutal.
We got a guy who's coming in ready to make some changes. Let's give him a chance. Let's not turn on him. Fans, stop turning on him. Give him a chance. You don't need a t-shirt. Your wife or girlfriend is going to steal that t-shirt and wear it to bed every night anyways. You're not going to wear that thing again after that playoff game. What do you need a t-shirt for?
Hey, you know who's nice, though? Speaking of Blazers and what they've seen, CJ McCollum. I love seeing him rip the Knicks up. That made me happy. I love seeing that from CJ McCollum.
It gives me flashbacks to when that Denver series he had for us, man. When him and Jamal Murray were trading buckets, I'm like, dude, CJ has always been cold. He will always be cold. Dude, what a fun game that was. I think the Knicks are going to win the next 3. Let's not get crazy. But nonetheless, that Hawks team looks great. That was a fun game.
Yeah, and Rockets are in some trouble.
Yeah, I think we kind of knew that though. Dude, this Lakers team is pretty good, man. And I don't know if you remember how the Rockets looked last year, but in the playoffs they clearly, and they didn't have KD, but they were clearly. I know, but that's not in these playoffs, man. It's way more than one guy, and Kevin Durant's clearly on the very back end of his career. They just, I don't know, man. I'm not bought in on Shen Yun anymore. I'm not bought in on the rest of the roster. It's interesting what's going on in Houston, and it's going to be a sweep, and it's going to make for some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, I think Thompson's as great as athletic as he is, kind of like De'Aaron Fox, just massively quick downhill, doesn't have a great jump shot. Play off him a little bit, just make it hard for him to get into the lane. You couple that with KD is kind of like I'm going to get mine, and like I just kind of need you guys to do yours, not necessarily leading the charge on both sides of the ball. So the most interesting series to me right now, and this one might have to go 7 games, is the Nuggets and the Wolves. Those teams don't like each other, and that series is physical too.
Get me the popcorn.
Love that series.
Dude, it's awesome. That's gonna be a good one. I think you're right. It's gonna go all seven. It's I don't know, man. If you had to tell me pick a winner today, like your life is on the line, gun to head, I wouldn't know who to pick. I would be so back and forth. I'd be like, give it to Denver, the slight edge, because they've won it all before. So, but man, that Wolves team. The other ones, the only other two that I felt were noteworthy. One, I don't think we need to overreact to the Magic Pistons. Pistons are going to come back fine. They're very similar to the Spurs in that they don't have playoff experience, so this is all new to them. They'll figure it out. They'll get into it. They'll get into the same rhythm that they've been in all year. And I don't think the Magic are that good. And now that I look at it, they're up 84-66 right now in the fourth quarter. They're almost up 20 points. So they're right back to it. But the other one, I told you I have some pause with the Celtics, and then they go and drop a game to Philadelphia.
Well,
was I right in that pause?
I don't think so, because I don't think that you're going to get a 30-some-odd point game from VJ Edgecombe every single time, which was kind of the difference in that game. And I do love VJ Edgecombe, and I think he's an excellent rookie, but I don't think that that's something you're going to consistently get. It's the Garden or the TD Garden. Like, things are always going to be chaotic in there, high energy. It's not like Philly's not good enough to take a game. They're just not good enough to win this series.
And I'm not necessarily saying should we be worried about this series. It's more in this playoffs. I think some of these teams in the East, man, like I said, I think the Pistons will start to put it together, but the Knicks and even the Cavs, man, the Cavs are looking good. The Raptors are, I think, quite a poor team. I don't think the Raptors ever had a snowball's chance. So we'll really see what the Cavs are made of in the next round. But, dude, if they get rolling, let's say Cavs go to, well, who would they play next? They would play the Pistons next, right? Yeah.
That,
so
that
let's
feels
say
winnable. You got some vets on this Cavs team that I don't think the Pistons are ready for. They're not ready.
And let's say they roll them. Let's say they roll them, and then the Celtics and Knicks go into a crazy bloodbath of a series. Like, I would find it hard to think that the Cavs don't handle them comfortably. I don't know. We'll see. I just keep an eye on the Celtics.
I think
just keep an eye out.
Between Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, who's the guy who's coming off the bench? Sam Merrill. I think you've got enough defense on this Cavs team. And if you can get these kinds of performances where you're getting 30 essentially from both James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, and it didn't look like it was hard for them to do that. It didn't look like, okay, I need to get my shot. Now I need to get my shot. And that kind of deal that everyone thought with James Harden wanting to be ball dominant, it's gelling pretty well. And I feel like these guys are so locked in on winning because of what people like me have even said. James Harden, like, your team is better, but it doesn't make you contenders. I'm starting to feel like maybe they could be Eastern Conference contenders. I still don't think that they're better than Boston, but, I'm seeing something there. They could catch a groove. They could get hot.
We'll see. Sweet. Well, we're going to have some more NBA playoffs. It's kind of hard dropping these things weekly because a few games go by, stories change, but we'll do our best to wrap it up. We're going to get 2 more of these Blazer games under our belt, and we'll see where we're at. I might be putting a hand up next Monday when we record the pod, or maybe you'll be the one putting the hand up. All those people who said, one of them said, maybe you should watch some basketball. I'm going to tag you in the comments too. I'll tell you what, I watch basketball. I see it. Clearly you don't. I don't know if you watched game 1 and 2. Did you tune in?
Listen, Michael Jordan has a chance to come back in game 3 against the Cincinnati Bulldogs. All right. They're going to do it. I've got faith.
You're killing me, man. Take us home.
Let's take ourselves home. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much if you have made it this far for tuning into KYP. My name is Nathan Hawthorne. This is Jared McEnroy. We are on YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. You can find us anywhere. Stay tuned for the next one, and we will see you guys later.